vertebrates, and we know that animals that are having the backbones, these are known as the vertebrates. Animals with backbones are known as the vertebrates, and we have the different examples of the vertebrates like humans, like mammals, like birds, fishes, amphibians, and reptiles. These all are the examples of the vertebrates, and in this video, we are going to discuss about the characteristics of these vertebrates. So beta, before going to discuss about the vertebrates, first of all, we will discuss about that how can we classify the animals. So beta, scientists have classified the animals into the two main groups. The first one is the vertebrates and the second one is the invertebrates. So we can see that there are the two main groups into which the animals they can be classified. The first one is the vertebrates and the second one is the invertebrates. Now let's discuss about the vertebrates. Vertebrates are the animals that are having the backbone. Those animals that contain the backbones, these are known as the vertebrates, like humans, like you can see the variety of animals and the birds. And what are invertebrates? Invertebrates are the animals that do not have the backbone, that do not contain the backbones. For example, in this case, we have the different examples of insects. We have the different examples of worms like earthworms, crabs, spiders, etc. Like beta, in this picture, you can see the starfish. The starfish, it do not have the backbone. So we can say that starfish is the invertebrate. So beta, in this way, we can classify the animals into the two main groups. So beta, in this video, we are going to discuss about the main group, that is the vertebrates. We are just going to discuss about the vertebrates. So let's discuss about the vertebrates. Scientists beta have again classified the vertebrates into the further 5 classes. Let's discuss about these classes. So the very first class of the vertebrate is the class Pisces, that is about the fishes. It is about the water animals. The second class of the vertebrate is about the amphibia, that is about the animals like frogs, like toads. The third class of the vertebrate is about the reptilia, that is about the creeping animals like you can see here, the snakes. The fourth class of the vertebrate is about the aves, that is about the flying animals, like in this case we have the birds. And the fifth class of the vertebrate is about the mammalia, that is about the mammals like humans, like pandas, and like the different kinds of the animals. So beta, this is all about the 5 classes of the vertebrates. Now beta, we are going to discuss about all of these classes in detail. So come towards the very first class of the vertebrate, that is the class Pisces, and the class Pisces is about the fishes. So beta, let's discuss about the characteristics of the class Pisces. The very first characteristic of the class Pisces is that they are the cold-blooded animals. These are the cold-blooded animals. And why we are calling them as the cold-blooded animals? Beta, because the fishes, they can't maintain their body temperature. They can't control their body temperature. That's why we can call them as the cold-blooded animals. And the fishes, they can change their body temperature with the change in the environmental temperature. For example, beta, if the environmental temperature, it begins to increase, then their body temperature, it also begin to increase. And when the environmental temperature, it will begin to decrease, then their body temperature will also begin to decrease. So we can say that they are changing their body temperature with respect to their environment. So that's why we are calling them as the cold-blooded animals. The next characteristic of the class Pisces, that is the fishes, is that they can breathe through the gills. Breathe means that they are taking in air, they are taking in oxygen with the help of the gills. And what are gills, beta? Gills are the respiratory organs. Gills are the respiratory organs that are present in the fishes, and fishes are taking in air, fishes are taking in oxygen with the help of the gills. This third characteristic is about that they are living in the water. They are the water animal, so they are present in the water. The fourth characteristic about the class fishes is that they lay the shell-less eggs, means that they are laying the eggs that are without shell, that are without hard outer covering. Because beta, they are laying their eggs in water. That's why it is without the hard outer covering, that is the shell. So beta, the scientists have again divided the class Pisces, that is the fishes, into the three types. Let's discuss about these three types. The class Pisces, that is fishes, is divided into the three types, that is the jawless fishes, cartilaginous fishes, and the bony fishes. On the basis of the different characteristics, that's why the scientists have divided them into the three main again groups. So let's come towards the very first group, that is the jawless fishes. Beta, as the name indicates, jawless fishes means those fishes that are without jaws. They don't have the jaws. And what are jaws? Jaws are the pair of bones that are forming the structure of your mouth, and that contains the teeth. So these fishes, they are without the jaws, and they have the sucker type mouth. Sucker type mouth means that they have the sucker like mouth and they suck their food. So the cartilaginous fishes, now let's discuss about the mouth of the cartilaginous fishes. The mouth of cartilaginous fishes is present on the ventral side. Ventral side means it is present on the lower side of the body of the animal. So the cartilaginous fish's mouth is present on the ventral side, on the lower side. And the bony fish's mouth are the terminal. Bony fish's mouth is terminal, means that their mouth is located in the middle of the head. Their mouth is located in the middle of the head. That's why we can say that bony fishes, they have the terminal mouth. So now we come towards the next characteristics is about the scales. The jawless fishes, they do not contain scales. Their body is not covered with any type of the covering, that is the scale. Whereas beta, the cartilaginous fishes, their bodies are covered with the scales. They are having the scales. Same in the case, the bony fishes, they are also having the scales. So beta, now come towards the third characteristics, that is the skeleton. That is about the skeleton. So beta, the jawless fishes, they are having the cartilaginous skeleton. They are having the cartilaginous skeleton means that their skeleton is made up of the cartilage. It is made up of the cartilage, and cartilage is softer than the bones. Whereas, as the name indicates, the cartilaginous fish's skeleton, it is also made up of the cartilage, and it means that their skeleton is not as much hard as compared to the bony fishes. And bony fish's skeleton, as the name indicates, it is made up of the bones. So we can say that bony fishes have bony skeleton, means that their skeleton, it is made up of the bones, and they are having the hard skeleton. Whereas the skeleton of the jawless fishes and the cartilaginous fishes is soft. So beta, this is all about the class Pisces, that is the fishes. We have divided it into the three categories. Now beta, let's come towards the examples of the class Pisces, that is the fishes. So we have the example, that is the shark. Shark is an example of the cartilaginous fishes. Why we can call the shark as the cartilaginous fishes? Because its body, it is made up of the cartilage. And you can assume, you can imagine the body of the cartilage by looking at the structure of your ear and nose. Your ear and nose, it is also made up of the cartilage, and it is softer than the bones. So you can imagine the structure of the cartilaginous fishes, that is the shark. So the next fish's example is the bony fishes. As you can see here, the bony skeleton. So we can see that it is the bony fish. The third example is the lamprey, and lamprey is an example of the jawless fishes, means those fishes that do not having the jaws. For example, in this case, you can't see any jaws. So we can see that lamprey is a jawless fishes. Now we shall come towards the next class, that is the class amphibia, and class amphibia is about the water animals, like you can see here, the frog, salamanders, and the newts. These all are the examples of the class amphibia, and now we are going to discuss about them in detail, about their characteristics. So beta, the very first characteristic of the class amphibia is that these are the cold-blooded animals, just like the fishes. They can't regulate their body temperature. They can't maintain their body temperature. So that's why we are calling them as the cold-blooded animals. The second characteristic is that they are living on the land as well as in the water. Means they have the ability to live both on the land as well as in the water. The third characteristic is that they are having the smooth and moist skin. Smooth skin means that their skin, it is having the regular appearance, and moist means that their skin is slightly wet. So we can now come towards the fourth characteristic of the class Amphibia, that is their skeleton is made up of the bones. So we can see that they are having the bony skeleton and they are having the hard skeleton. So the fifth characteristic is that they are laying their eggs in water, means that they lay their eggs in water. The fifth characteristic about these animals is that they are having the two pairs of limbs, means that they are having the two pairs of legs. They are having the two front legs and two back legs. So we can see that they are having the two pairs of limbs. The last characteristic is about their breathing, that how they can breathe. With the help of which organs they are able to breathe, they are able to take in air, they are able to take in oxygen. So beta, the class Amphibia, that is frog, they can breathe through the three organs, that is through the skin. They can also breathe through the lungs and they can also breathe through the gills. Means that their skin is having the thin membranes. So that's why their skin, it can easily absorb the oxygen. And we know that lungs are the respiratory organs. So lungs, they can easily take in air, they can easily take in oxygen, and they can also breathe with the help of the gills. The developmental stages of frogs, for example, beta, we all know that tadpole larva is present in the water. So just like the water fishes, water animals, they are able to breathe with the help of the gills. The tadpole larva is breathing, it is taking in air with the help of the gills. So beta, this is all about the class Amphibia. Now we are going to discuss about another class, that is the class Reptilia. And class Reptilia is about the creeping animals, like we have the lizard, we have the different animals like crocodiles and snake. So this is all about the class Reptilian animals. Now let's discuss about their characteristics. So the very first characteristic is that these are also cold-blooded animals, means they can't regulate their body temperature, they can't maintain their body temperature just like the fishes and the amphibians. The second characteristic is just like amphibians, they also have the ability to live both on the land as well as in the water, as you can see here in the case of the crocodile. The third characteristic about the class Reptilia is that they are respiring through the lungs, means that they are taking in air, they are taking in oxygen with the help of the lungs. So the fourth characteristic about the class Reptilian is that they are having the hard skin, means that their skin, it is covered with the scales that makes their skin rough, that makes their skin hard. The fifth characteristic about this class is that they are laying the eggs that are the soft shelled, means that they are laying soft shelled eggs, means those eggs that are without the hard outer covering, just like as we have discussed in the case of the amphibians. And they are also having the two pairs of limbs, means they are having the two pairs of legs, just like the amphibians, the two front legs and two back legs. So this is all about the class Reptilian characteristics. Now we are going to discuss about another very interesting class of the vertebrate, that is the class Aves, and Aves is about the birds. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the flying animals like sparrows, like pigeons, like crows, and like ostrich. These all are about the class birds, Aves. So beta, let's discuss about their characteristics. The very first characteristic about the class Aves is that these are the warm-blooded animals. And warm-blooded means that they have the ability to control their body temperature. It means that they can maintain their body temperature. The second characteristic about the class Aves is that their bodies, it is covered by the feathers, means that their all bodies, it is covered by the feathers that enables them to fly. The third characteristic is about that they are having the horny beaks. Horny beaks means that they are having the pointed beaks. They are having the beaks that are just like the horns, and plus they are having the scales on their legs. Their legs are covered with the scales just like the scales that are present on the fishes. The fourth characteristic is about they are laying their eggs. So we know that the birds lays their eggs. After that, the female bird, they incubate that eggs and then the young one hatches from these eggs. So the fifth characteristic about the class Aves is that they are having the hollow and light bones. Hollow means these bones they are empty from inside that make them light. So that's why they are easily to fly. They can easily fly because of these light bones because they are empty from inside. So the last characteristic about the class Aves, that is the birds, is that they have the modified forelimbs. Modified forelimbs means that their front legs, it is modified in the form of the wings, and these wings, it enables the birds to fly. So beta, this is all about the class Aves, that is the birds, the very interesting class. Now we are going towards the class Mammalia, that is about the mammals, that is about the humans, that is about the different animals like zebras, like lions, like cows, like different kinds of animals. So beta, let's discuss about their characteristic. We are going to discuss about the class mammals. So the very first characteristic of the class mammal is about that these are the warm-blooded animals. And what does the warm-blooded means? That they also have the ability to maintain their body temperature. They can regulate their body temperature. They can maintain their body temperature. So that's why we are calling them as the warm-blooded animals. The second characteristics of the class Mammalia is that they are having the glandular skin. Means that their skin, it is having the glands, and the glands of the mammalian skin, it is of the four types. The first one is the sebaceous gland, and we know beta the glands are responsible for the secretion of the various substances. So the sebaceous gland is responsible for the secretion of sebum. And what is sebum? Sebum is a oily substance. So sebaceous gland is secreting the sebum. The second gland is the sweat gland, and the sweat gland is responsible for the secretion of sweat. The third gland is the mammary gland, and the mammary gland is responsible for the secretion of the milk. The fourth gland is the scent gland, and the scent gland is responsible for the secretion of the smelling substances, those substances that produce the scent, that produce the smell. So the third characteristic is about that their bodies is covered with the hairs. As we can see that all the mammals bodies, it is covered with the hair. Like for example, we have the example of cat. The fifth characteristic of the mammalia is that they are having the separate sexes. Means that in the class Mammalia, you can see different males and female species. You can see the separate male and female organisms. The next characteristic about the class Mammalia is that they are having the external ear. External ears means that they are having the outer ears, and they are having the movable eyelids. Eyelids means the upper and the lower folds of the skin that covers the eye. So these folds of the skin, it can move. So we can say that they are having the movable eyelids. The last characteristic about the class Mammalia is that they are having the four-chambered heart. Means that their heart is having the four chambers, just like the humans. Humans' heart have also four chambers, as we have discussed in the grade 7. So these four chambers, the two upper chambers, their heart is having two upper chambers and two lower chambers. The two upper chamber is known as the atria, whereas the two lower chambers is known as the ventricles. So we can say that mammalian heart is having the four chambers. So beta, this is all about the class Mammalia, and this is all about the class Vertebrates. And in this video, we have discussed all the characteristics of the class Vertebrates. So beta, this is all about the Vertebrates.